Hi, welcome to 7mm Sidings number 67. This time some of you may have seen the videos before on YouTube, etc., but this time I thought I'd do something a little bit different and show you around the layout, where locos are coming from and going to, and also sort of a guided tour of the room to put everything into perspective and show what's been happening over the last 6 months or so since we moved in, and I got my pit of doom built. Basically it's part of the bungalow, it's the old garage, and it's now the pod, the railway room, pit of doom, named because it's got no windows, but as you can see it's quite bright. And so let's have a look around the layout and see what's been going on. Okay, we'll start from the entrance. I'm standing in the doorway at the moment, so this is the view to the right as I look into the room, and over in the far corner that's the fiddle yard, which is known as 7-up junction, and then I've got a small workbench there, and then down on this side of the garage is the new extension that's been built, which is Bench Road, and the reason for that is it's over the top of my workbench, another workbench, a low one this time. So we'll go from there. I'll show you around and you can see what goes where. Right, starting from the door, we come in the door and the layout, the main part of 7mm Sidings is on the left, and then on the right, as we look at this, which is on the left as I come in the door, is my workbench. Now that's the sitting down low level workbench with cabinets and etc. underneath, and above it you can see what is actually a swivelling fiddle yard. It's pivoted in the far corner behind the wagon at the back there. So when I want to use it, I just take hold of it. Sorry about the squeaky noise. I swing it around and it sits on the back of the 7mm Sidings. So that's where it comes across to. We can then put the plug in, there, and then it goes back. The 3 tracks line up there, which are the 3 main exit tracks into the fiddle yard. If I bring it back a little bit, I've got then 2 tracks are lined up. Ignore the nails, there as a safety device to stop stock rolling out from the layout onto the floor. And then finally this is the loop that runs along behind the control panel, and so that lines up there, but also then this one here lines up as well. So you've got plenty of operation. You can bring locos in, even the middle and the back tracks will line up with the one that's at this end, and I can basically move any loco from any line to almost any line throughout the layout, and that's the fiddle yard. This end is known as door end yard, and that's an old name from a few years ago with another layout I had at the time, and so there we go. That's the fiddle yard at door end. Moving on to the layout proper, those that have seen the videos before will have seen locos coming and going under the road bridge, which isn't finished. I'm hoping that my mate George Tate will make up a nice bridge for me in the summer once lockdown is finished, and he can actually come and visit, which will be good. The bare patch at the back is where the fueling point used to be. Now that's been removed, and shortly those sidings will be grassed over to form another pair of sidings, culminating in the end of a loop there at the end of the yard. And then on this side here we have the it used to be the MOD branch on the right. It's now just the goods relief loop that goes to the door end yard. In front of the layout is the control panel with all the switches on. I'm using the Ace Signatrack controller, which is not lit up at the moment, but exceptionally good, nice and easy to use. I've got two handsets for it as well, and that's ideal because I can control two locos basically if I have two operators here, and I can also control a third from the main unit, or have one of the handsets set up for the main unit for operating things like flange, squeal, etc. Moving on down the layout, the original layout was 2 foot wide when I lived in Derbyshire, and basically the end of the baseboard was here where my hand is, so the sidings that you see to the right were the sidings on the layout. And beyond the station there was originally the level crossing. Now I had to remove the roadway along the back of the yard because I had to shorten the layout by 2 feet. So the fiddle yard you've just seen has been shortened by approximately 1 foot, and almost a foot taken off of the end of the board at this end, which meant I lost the roadway along the back and I lost the level crossing at the other end of the station. That's why the signal box is at that end. The station is modelled as disused, derelict, and that's the reason why there's no passenger trains around here. It's just an old disused yard. At the moment there's quite a few locos stored here. I won't normally be doing that apart from the siding at the back where the 37 and the 25 is, basically because I can't reach to uncouple wagons over that far back. But certainly the sidings at the front here, it'll be more of a wagon yard once the other sidings are done and I remove some more of the locos from the layout. When we moved here in May 2020, I added the 2 more sidings with the sort of roadway in between there, and then eventually I decided to put in the extra point here and level crossing gates that were removed from the end, a roadway, and I've now got what is basically 7-up junction, which is the new fiddle yard at this end, disguised with the trees. The trees are actually 00 gauge plastic Britain's trees covered in foliage, and then the lane goes on down the end and disappears around the bend, which is actually just painted onto the back scene. Now this is a view that you wouldn't normally see, only because I'm holding the camera and very carefully going down the back. So that's the view in the back of the yard, looking around, and basically from the yard entrance looking back, back down the layout at where the wagon storage is. So if we now look at the from the level crossing, it goes through to a 3-road fiddle yard, and all 3 tracks, oh sorry about the squeaking, all 3 tracks line up with the entrance to the fiddle yard. So I can store locos, wagons, etc. on any of the 3 roads. But the road nearest to us, it also comes around and it forms the fiddle yard for the new section which is the bench road depot. So I'm just sliding that across. So the layout basically, or the fiddle yard rather, rests on a board there, and tracks line up. I can then plug in bench road, and that goes into there, and that gives me the entrance to bench road. See at the end of the fiddle yard here, this is a swing out section that comes out and just stops locos falling off the end from there. This part is still work in progress, so please ignore any bald patches or areas that are not finished, such as the side of the layout, etc. Down under here I've got a Gauge Master Prodigy, and that can be plugged in over here so that this bench road can run as its own independent layout, separate from 7mm sidings. So that gives me the option then of, if I ever wanted to sell it, it's a separate layout completely, and can be just run independently with its own fiddle yard if I wanted to. Working on down from the entrance, we cross over the little river. The PVA in the video at the moment is still drying a bit. It'll take 2 or 3 more coats of PVA before that's fully dried, but that will be the river, which somebody very kindly aptly named River Axe, because it's crossing over where my guitars are. So yeah, that'll be the River Axe. And then the layout, the track split there. We have a siding along the back, which is a stabling point. It takes 3 37s and that sort of thing, so quite a good size for getting locos off the main layout. And then the track at the front, once again, that splits with a set of points. And we have another siding going off down the back, which, as you can see, takes 3 good sized locos and is ideal for getting locos off of 7mm sidings to make it more usable for wagon works, etc. Down here we've got the depot area. I'm just going to switch the depot lights on, which I forgot to do earlier. So there we go. We've got 2 lighting lamps, and then there's lights actually underneath the canopy as well, which you've got a job to see. And there's also lighting in the porter cabin, which needs finishing off. So porter cabin at the end, it came from Long Classic Lines. It's a wooden one. Lovely kit to put together, and painted up well, so that's all good. One thing I've forgotten to do is switch the power on, because the buffer lights are actually all illuminated. I'll do that now. So there we are. I've just put the power on, and you can see we've got lights on the buffers, and that just whether it's right or not I don't really know, and to be honest it doesn't matter. It's just more a case of it looks good to me, and that's what really matters. I've got exactly the same on the main layout. The buffers at the end of the sidings are illuminated in the same way, and it just brightens the layout up a little bit and helps me to you know, see that the power's been left on if I switch the lights off at night when I'm going indoors. So running wise, I can bring a loco out from Bench Road Depot, and we can then run up to the fiddle yard at the end. The fiddle yard can be swiveled across. The locos can then come off the fiddle yard over the level crossing and then run through the yard generally through the centre arch of the bridge, which I call the main line, and then onto the fiddle yard by the door, which is door end. In the middle here I've got what I call the centre road. It's this one here, and basically I can store a couple of fairly big locos on there if I want to, or I can use it as a run round loop. I'll now be able to use it as a run round loop 2 or 3 different ways, because I've got the line that comes down towards the sidings also goes to a crossover there and can come back to that loop, or I can use it from the 2 new sidings that are at the back that were the old fueling roads, and once they're grassed over they'll be set up as well to be able to run trains through. You'll notice a couple of ground signals. They're only dummy ones, well, they're not dummy ones, they actually work, but they're ex-Hornby 00 standard signals, and I just changed the bulbs for LEDs, and then I put them on the layout. Whether they're right or wrong, I don't really worry, because it's only for me at home, so I'm quite happy with that, and that's the way that the layout runs, and that's the way it sort of operates. So with the fiddle yard now back in its normal position, out of the way at the end of Bench Road, you can see I've got this portion here that swings out, and that supports the fiddle yard but also acts there to stop locos running off the end. And as I said earlier, I can plug in the Prodigy. I've got the plug down under here, so I can just plug in the Prodigy and use that if I wanted to just run the Bench Road as its own self-contained layout. Also on the bench here at the moment, waiting to be done, is a 37 in distribution livery. That's got the sound chip there ready, and just waiting for the speaker, the numbers and arrows etc. to come, and that will go through the bench, through the workshop area if you like, and be numbered up, ready for operation. So there we have it. That's a brief look around 7mm sidings. As I say, it's all work in progress, and there'll be some more videos coming up very shortly, and as always with every video you'll notice a few changes, and hopefully enough to keep me busy for the next few years, one would hope. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight, and see you again soon with some more videos. Thank you.